There isn't really a free market, and anyone who's studied economics at any basic level understands that the United States of America is most assuredly not a free market. But we do talk about something called the private sector versus the public sector. And I just want to dispense with the myth of the private versus the public sector. There are two sectors, but they're not private and public. They are protected and unprotected sectors of the marketplace. What I mean by that is there are entities. Some of these entities have government names on them, some of these entities have corporate names on them that benefit from the coercive power of the state enforcing laws, rules, and regulations, and more so than laws and rules, regulations. And then there are entities which are unprotected that must somehow find a way in the world to struggle, to scratch, to pull themselves up from under and from within the entanglement that is the rule, the regulation, the law designed to protect the protected sector and to hurt the unprotected sector. And I'll give you one very brief instance early on in modern Western history. It's on the cusp of the so-called modern age. And this is the Peasants' Revolt of the, was it 1380, 1381, whenever it was. The Peasant Revolt in England that almost dethroned a king, that was preceded by a plague. And this plague killed off maybe 25% or so of the population. And the free market system created more value for the workers than had existed before. So workers were now able to pressure the nobility to pay them more to work their fields. And so what happened was the state stepped in because the nobility, they're not part of the private sector. There's no private sector. There's only the protected sector. The nobility and the state are one. So the protected sector began to pass laws, rules, regulations designed to prevent the free market from costing the nobility more wealth. And this led to taxes and regulations, that one after another, that the peasants finally had enough, and you had the Peasants' Revolt of 1381, whenever it was. And that's just one example throughout history of how it is that the existence of the state immediately creates the existence of the protected sector and the unprotected sector. And just to make a point, 99 out of 100 people who may see this video are not part of the protected sector. If you're in business right now and you're listening to this video, you are most assuredly part of the unprotected sector. That means that you have to somehow strive to produce products, goods, and services that are cheaper and better than what the protected sector produces in an environment that you have to face rules, regulations, and laws that place undue burdens upon you and allow the protected sector to keep you right where you're at from fairly competing with them.